Warning!
Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to the ASOTV podcast for Legends of Tomorrow. Season 3, Episode 7, Welcome to the Jungle. I'm your host, Dom. Joining me, we have Nikki and Rachel. And then we have somebody over there named Cleo who has not watched the episode, but figured she wanted to hang out with us anyway.
She wants to know the deets. You're muted.
Where am I?
I don't know. We went back in time and got you just before the Flash podcast, and we kidnapped you.
What Flash podcast?
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet for you. Happened for us. Me and Nikki already know everything that was talked about. Place. But yeah, so welcome to the jungle.
Thank you. Hi.
This is the episode of Legends that appears just before the crossover, so Cleo figured she'd jump in, hang out, and try to make sense of what's going on before the crossover happens.
Yep.
So,
are we ever going to make sense of anything? No.
Never.
Nothing makes sense.
It'll be better than going in without any information at all.
It's true. It's true. So, Sarah's still in her coma. And, Stein is trying to stimulate Sarah awake by beating up a dummy, trying to trigger some, involuntary actions and stuff out of Sarah to
like
snap her out of it.
Noises and smells, that kind
smells?
of. Yes. A lot of people who are in comas go through aromatherapy.
Yes, no, I'm aware, but I didn't know Stein beating up the dummy was creating smells.
It's the same. I'm just saying, he's doing the same thing. He's using a type of therapy that is, connected to a lot of
mothballs.
You don't know that the dummy doesn't have essential oils in it, so when he punches it, it creates a smell. You don't know that.
Yeah.
All I know is that actually Stein's pretty damn good on that thing.
Yeah.
He was.
I was a little surprised.
And then later on, Jax comes in to talk to her, and he admits that he's scared of not being Firestorm anymore. He's afraid of what that would mean to him as a person, because he's got nothing else, outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
So in the meantime, Stein is below deck checking calculations to try to figure out how to put all of Firestorm inside Jax alone. And he's leading Jax to believe that he's got it under control, but when we cut to Stein, we see he has Sir Isaac Newton, he's got Galileo, he's got Madame Curie. They're all down there trying to work on how to split the thermocore.
Madame Curie is a thief.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's a thief?
Yeah, she stole the pie.
She's the pie thief.
She stole Jefferson's mom's pie.
Jackson's mom's pie, her famous pecan pie. Someone stole it.
It was her. She's sitting there eating it.
Yep. She's even worse than a thief. She took the pie out of its container and put the container back in the fridge.
I hate people like that.
Yeah.
And my daughter does that.
It's the worst. It's the worst. It's like drinking all the milk and putting the empty carton back in the refrigerator. That's what that's
drinking all
equivalent
of
to.
It, but like a tea much.
Yeah, just this.
Hey, at least that leaves enough for somebody with tea or coffee, But the other way, putting the complete empty carton is just that's worse.
It's because I usually, I understand the coffee and tea thing, but if I go into the fridge specifically for milk, it's to make mac and cheese or something, and if there's just this much left, I can't make my mac and cheese.
You need a fourth of a cup.
Yes.
But meanwhile, the Legends try to find another anachronism to deal with, and they pick out, I think it was a level. I know it turned into an 8, but I thought it was 6 before it was an 8 when they first picked it up. Was it not?
It started off as an 8, yeah.
Okay. Started off as a level 8, and it turns out it's December 1967, Vietnam, where we find out a creature wiped out a whole squad. We later find out this creature is none other than the famous Gorilla Grodd. So this is our first introduction to Grodd for the season. We knew he was coming.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about his entrance. We find out that the locals have been worshiping him as
He seems kind of like a douche.
as their god Unjoy Moy. Yeah, we're led. It was Ray, Zari, and Amaya were led to him by a local Ann Lee, which I believe is probably a reference to Lee Ann, who is a real Vietnam survivor. She has a whole book and everything like that. They just like juxtapositioned her name for this, probably to avoid
and they any kind of copyright issues. But yeah, she actually obviously plays a major part because she's like, well, I'm gonna stay here and do my part after she tells her, hey, you gotta start with you.
Yeah, she's a real girl whose story was told in through the Vietnamese time and stuff like that. But when they find out that it's Grodd here, the anachronism escalates to a level 10 because Grodd uses Vietnam to propel World War III.
Silly babe.
Red Band in chat says, I was getting too much of a King Louis vibe from Grodd.
Same here.
Yeah.
It was very, very Jungle Book.
Yeah.
He uses the country or the conflict of Vietnam?
Conflict.
The conflict. Okay.
Yeah.
Because what the paper
He uses
says
this
about,
country.
Yeah. No.
He said was the paper that they show on the ship was Russia bombs.
Yep.
So but Russia was never involved in it. So yeah.
Yep. He just used it to escalate everything. And Amaya decides she's going to go and shrink Grodd down to normal size using Ray's shrink ray. But this is when Grodd realizes that she's going to do something. He doesn't realize she's going to shrink him, but he thinks he's going to kill him. So he mind controls her and then smashes the shrink ray. And he said that he wants people to find peace. I'm like, what? You're starting World War III so people can find peace?
Yeah, he wants... People will find peace when they're all fucking gone. That's the idea here. He wants to make the world all gorilla. So when people are gone, there's going to be peace. That's exactly what he means.
He wants Planet of the Apes. Sorry, wrong movie. Wrong show, dude.
Yeah, Caitlin and...
That's what he wants. You're not wrong.
Caitlin and Cisco probably showed him nothing but Planet of the Apes when they had him locked in the cell.
Probably.
Oh, of course. Well, when they didn't know he was
the old or new ones.
Intelligent.
Because either way, there's kind of bad.
Probably the old ones.
Probably the old ones, yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, they had him in a cage for a really long time, so they could have shown him both, so it's whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, knowing Cisco is probably the old ones.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was 4 years ago from now, so that's when the particle accelerator went off. So leading up to that, it was probably 5 to 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. Gorillas have a life expectancy of about 30 years, so yeah, it's probably the old ones, to be honest. I don't think all the new ones were out at that point.
No.
But Mick's a little off here. Like, he's something's up with him. So Nick talks to him and finds out that Mick's father actually served in Nam. So he's like, the chances are very slim. If we run into your father, I'll buy you a 6-pack. Well,
he owes him a 6-pack.
They ran into his father, didn't they?
Yeah, Nate owes him a 6-pack. His name is Dick Rory.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. And he has a flamethrower. Just like his son,
Of course he does.
And I love the name that Nate gives him. His name. This is Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
So his name's Mick Schwarzenegger.
They were coming up with like code names to give, and I forget what Nate said his was, but Mick's was Schwarzenegger.
But it was so funny watching their mannerisms mirror each other and stuff. It was hilarious.
Oh yeah.
I'm like,
They would turn and spit at the exact same time, you know.
They grunt.
The same like deep raspiness in their voice.
Yeah.
And
I wonder
the
how
actor
much
much together. They spent time together.
The actor that was playing his dad, you could tell that voice, that the tone and the raspiness was so forced.
Yeah.
And you could probably imagine that like he had to take like painkillers after doing scenes and stuff because it would be rough on you. I would assume.
But I bet you they spent so much time together just getting this down right because it was flawless. It really was. It was amazing. It was so hilarious. And you're like, oh, so that's where he gets that little trait from. He really does take after his dad.
Yeah. I mean, the actor who played him is Evan Jones. And he was in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I just don't know what character he played. Let's see if I can find out really quick. But yeah, he was fantastic. I think he played a really, really good father for me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Mick is like one of those characters that not only does he grow on you, but he also is the only character to actually grow as a person.
Yeah.
And
he just keeps growing too.
Yeah, and I mean when he talked to his younger self at the, when they picked up their younger selves and hid them away, he was talking to them about, the start in the fire. He told them it wasn't his fault and all this stuff. And then it comes back around to telling it, they talk about it again, how he wasn't sorry that he let his father burn in that fire.
Yeah, he played the character Wretch, who sided with Taserface in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, one of the guys who was torturing Groot. But yeah.
Okay. I can kind of...
The most fearsome name of Taserface.
Taserface! Yeah.
So, yeah.
Taserface.
Red Bandit. Yep, that's exactly who it was. So, I don't know, it was great. It was great seeing him in there. He was fantastic. But now, Mick is all like, my father never did anything. All he did was sit in a chair, smoke cigars, and the only time he got up was and then he stopped. And it seemed like he was implying that it was beat up him or his mother, like hit one of them. But he didn't. He didn't actually say that. So I don't want to jump to conclusions there, but that seems like what he was talking about.
And then I think he also realized when more he was with his dad that all the shit that they had those special moments, all the crap that's been in his head. And then when it got to that one critical moment where he was going to kill everyone and Mick stopped him, I think that might have been the moment where he actually did it in the past.
It wasn't just that, though. It was like he also had a list of everyone that he ever lost on his watch. He saved Mick's life. At one point, he's like, I didn't want to add you to this list. And then Mick goes into like this guilt coma, and he's sitting there like burning his own skin with his lighter, and he's like, I only ever saw him as a monster. I never once took into account everything that he'd witnessed, and it turned him into.
People came back from Vietnam very fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
and there was no mental health.
Yeah, there was no treatment for PTSD or anything. That you were just screwed up. You had to go home and you had to live through it.
Yeah.
You either sucked it up, manned up, as I would say, man up and just deal with it.
Mick sees himself as the monster now.
Yeah. Or you became homeless.
Yeah. But Mick sees himself as a monster, saying that maybe he should have been the one that died in the fire, not his father. And a
lot of survivor's guilt going on around with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then back on the ship, Jax and Stein, they're still working on the thing. Jax leaves without Stein. He's like, look, I have to find out who I am because pretty soon you're going to be gone. And I have to learn what it's like to be on my own, Well,
I mean, he wouldn't have gone out by himself if he didn't know they were dealing with Gorilla Grodd.
Yeah, that's true.
And, they were planning on killing the president.
Yeah. So we have President Lyndon B. Johnson, LBJ, who arrives in Nam, and this is where Jax shines.
The prosthetics on that character were
the nose.
oh my god, it made me laugh so hard.
The nose prosthetic.
Everything.
He had cheekbones, he had chin, he had nose, he had a brow and everything.
It's like they did it intentionally because there's no way they could not have done it and not it look funny. So they're just like, well, we're just gonna make it look.
Well, LBJ, the actual president, did not anywhere have a nose anywhere close to that size. You know, like.
That's what I meant. They couldn't get someone probably to look exactly like him. So they're just like, we're just going to play it up.
Well, I mean, it's like most of the actors who play Nixon. They always overdo it. Like, yeah, sure, Nixon had a huge nose, but...
It wasn't like
it's always just like a little off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he had a big nose, but it's not that big. It's not as big as they made it on the show. Like, here's a picture of him right here. This is what he looked like. And, you know, clearly he was younger in the time of Nam, but you know, is not as big as they were exaggerating it to.
Well, like I said, I think they just played it up for comic.
Oh yeah, we know that the Legends is all about the cheese.
Yeah.
So any opportunity they get to make it so that it's not so intense, because to be fair, this episode was a little bit intense and like, you know, emotional in a lot of places. They had to do something to bring the cheese.
I mean, as young as most of us are, we didn't live through, but we know people that have lived through the Vietnam War, and we've heard stories, and it's a little more close to home than it is like, say, World War II or the Korean War or something like that. I mean, this is more of a modern day war, and so you know someone or know of someone that knows someone that was there or had people there or died there, so it's a little more, you'd hear stories about it, and so it's a little more closer to home. It's a little more real, I guess.
Yeah.
But I did love it. I did.
I liked the episode, but I was just so hyped to see Grodd, because we all know Grodd is my absolute favorite DC character ever, and he's the character I know the most about. And
they did a lot of this episode setting it up to make it seem like Grodd was not going to continue through. Like this was a one-off thing with Grodd. That's why this episode was in kind of a different direction. But you had Jax here helping LBJ through a trip minefield. LBJ actually trips a landmine, and Jax comes in with a spray can of like Freon, and
no, it was actually it was Barbasol.
Barbasol.
So he just tipped it. He turned upside down so the Freon would come out and freeze the thing. Yeah.
And locks the trip mine in place so LBJ can get off of it. Jax then leads him through, saying, "Look, if I blow up, don't follow me. You know, but if I don't, follow me exactly." So he led him through the minefield, and
yeah. Sorry about that.
led him through the trip field, and instead of getting a medal for bravery for doing this, the president gives Jax his famous pecan pie recipe. Did you guys think that was worth it?
For him it was, since he seems to really like pecan pie.
He didn't seem too impressed over it.
Depends if the recipe's any good. If like it's
Ray said the most inappropriate thing ever.
What? I missed it.
He goes, was it something like, I don't know, but the first lady's pie is really good, or something like that. You can't beat the first lady's pie. And everyone just looked at him, and they're like, he's like, oh, I really shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
And it was like a split second. I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Jack seemed like the only one not impressed with the pie, though. Like, everybody else was, like, drooling, mouth-watering over it, saying this is such good pie. And Jax is just like, he definitely prefers his mother's, you know?
Exactly.
Of course, it's your mommy's.
Everybody prefers their mother's cooking, you know?
Or their grandma's. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Whatever you grew up on. So, in the meantime, Amaya is trying to appease Grodd. She's starting to get through. She's asking Grodd, you know, come with them. She'll bring him to a time before humans where, you know, he doesn't have to deal with any of this. And gunshots start going off, and he feels like he was betrayed because now it's Dick, Rory, and crew blasting their way through the camp.
Well, she did show also that she wasn't like everyone else. She did turn into a gorilla.
Yeah. But
and
this
is
when Grodd realizes, oh, you have a time machine. I'm going to use your time machine to prevent humans from evolving, stopping the human race, and making, screw a gorilla city, we can have a gorilla planet. So this is where Planet of the Apes comes in. So Dick Rory had knocked out Nate previously. Mick had joined him, took all the other legends hostage as traitors, and was going to kill them all. Except for Mick. But Mick ends up talking his father down, saying that if he does do this moment will haunt him for the rest of his life, and he will not be able to enjoy having a family and all these things that he's wanted to do. And then as Dick Rory puts his weapon down, Mick just turns and decks him, and then looks over his shoulder and goes, "What? I always wanted to do that."
Yeah, they're like, "Why did you do that?" But yeah, it was one of those moments that I bet you that was like the pivotal moment. He obviously did something like this previously, and it probably haunted him forever and totally just screwed with his mind. And so this is one way Rory could be like, prevent him from really fucking him over. So who knows? Maybe Roy will start having better memories of his father. Maybe the fire won't happen. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, we don't know if that's going to alter anything.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, if it does alter, we're going to have like another Lily situation. Maybe Mick will end up having siblings. You know, like it can change that much.
Yeah,
but it might not be, and if then you know, like the Lily situation, it might not be that big of a deal. It might have been like, oh, this was always supposed to happen. Like, time just went, yeah, okay, cool, we'll go with this now.
Yep.
You know, kind of thing.
But while all this is going on, Grodd tries to board the Wave Rider. He's hanging on for dear life outside on the thing, but Stein and Gideon are trying to fly the ship away to get away from Grodd. This is when Sarah wakes up out of her coma. But it's not Sarah. It's Grodd.
Wakes up.
Yeah. It's Grodd. And she's attacking Stein, all this. She's got her everything flailing, and Sir Isaac Newton comes out of nowhere and just smashes Sarah over the back of the head.
With a cast iron frying pan.
Yep. Save Stein. I was like, ooh. Screw the apple. Screw the apple, Isaac Newton. Let's use frying pans.
I do love when we first saw, so it was like when Isaac and Stein was like, "What do I have to throw an apple at you?"
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there was little ones like that, little jokes.
So with Sarah out cold, you know, Stein's trying to figure out a way to get Grodd off the ship, and then he realizes, oh, he's gonna fly the Wave Rider through the bombings that are happening, which is gonna heat the ship up and cause Grodd to have to let go. So that's exactly what happened. Grodd starts falling to his death. And then Mick almost had like this Back to the Future moment with his dad. He's like, look, if you ever have a son, and just forget it. Like, you know, it almost was the, like, what was it, in Back to the Future 1, I think it was, when he mentioned, you know, if you ever have a son, and it's a boy, and he does something to the rug, you know, don't get mad at him, whatever that was, you know.
Yeah, he just went, and they both did this grunt thing at the same time. And it was just...
So he stopped that. So it's like, how much of the future is going to change? I don't know, you know, so. I
want to see more of his dad. I'm sorry. Can we have like a spinoff of Mick and his dad?
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
That'd be hilarious.
But then Amaya realizes, you know, she's like, oh, look, Grodd wasn't born evil. It was made. And she's like, much like her granddaughter Kuasa. So she realizes, you know, that there might be some hope in saving her in the future. Sarah then wakes up while everybody's eating the delicious pecan pie, chucking a throwing star at Stein's plate. and then asks, if anybody saved any pie for her. And then it turns to Sir Isaac Newton eating some pie. He makes some comment at Sarah. She just goes, "Who's the new guy?" Just totally confused why he's there. And then Mick just like runs up to him and like Men in Black flashy things him right in the face.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Time to put Isaac back in his time.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it cuts to present day. And we see Gorilla Grodd falling back to Earth with Damien Dark standing right there, telling Grodd, "What do you need a ship for time travel for? When you can just think and be anywhere you want." And holds out the. It looked like last week. It looked like a compass. This week it's definitely more of a stone.
Yeah.
With a rune on it. And, it's left off, and Grodd looks intrigued. So this is the beginning of the Gorilla Grodd Damien Dark partnership. So,
but Amaya did bring up one thing in their show. She was thinking, she goes, all the places they've been, they were like confronting their past self, like, with Ray and him. All the anomalies have everything to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
With the people on the ship. It didn't go much with it, but she did mention it, and I was like, that is very interesting. I never even thought about that.
It is. Mm-hmm. It's the outline anachronisms that have everything to do with the Legends team. Yep. The ones that are, connected in time and space, the ones that are part of a system and, they're all connected, are just anachronisms that are, the time people douchebags can take care of. These outliers are the ones that the Legends are taking care of. So
yeah, but everyone is and they're all connected to them. So it's kind of weird. I'm wondering if when last episode Dark said, you're bad for business. I'm wondering if he's putting these putting the certain blips in history there on purpose.
In hopes that they fail and a team member gets aced.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, like I said, I think Dark. There's definitely there's something he has going on.
Yep. So I don't know. That's pretty much it for this episode. But I'm really excited for Grodd, because they did set this whole episode up to make it seem like it was a one-off kind of deal. We knew, though, from the Comic-Con panel and stuff like that Grodd was going to be working with Dark. So without that information, this would have had a big, oh my god moment, Grodd's joining, the thing. But we already knew this, so I see where it's kind of a disappointment for Nikki, where it's just episode itself with Grodd wasn't fantastic, and then the big ending reveal is something we already knew kind of deal. I get where that's kind of a letdown. But for somebody who didn't know Grodd was coming, and all that, and then finding out not only did he come, but he's staying, that's going to be big. So
this is my first time I've ever seen him, so yeah.
Yeah, this is one of Nikki's favorite characters in all of the DC universe. But Grodd will be back joining. I don't know how much, if at all, he's going to be involved in the crossover. Which the crossover is called Crisis on Infinite Earth. We have Arrow moving from Friday to Monday, and it's going to be the second part in the episode. So we have, if you guys don't already watch the other three shows, I should say, you need to be watching them this week at least, because it's going to be a 4-part crossover, two parts on Monday, 2 parts on Tuesday. We're going to cover the whole thing on Wednesday as one podcast during this time slot here. About an hour earlier, we're going to start from if you're watching this live. So that's Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And it begins with Supergirl with Crisis on Earth X Part 1 with the epic 4-way crossover. Barry and Iris's wedding brings the gang together. But things go awry when villains from Earth X attack the ceremony. All the superheroes band together with help from the Super Friends like Citizen Cold, The Ray, Felicity Smoke, Iris West, and Alex Danvers to take the most formidable villains yet. Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Green Arrow, which they list as Stephen Amell, so we currently know that Ollie is not in possession of the suit. He's not taking the mantle of Green Arrow, so something's going to happen probably this week on Arrow to change that, possibly.
Probably Diggle's way like, I can't do it because my hand.
Yeah. I understand.
I don't have my drugs.
It's symbolic, the handing of the suit from Ollie to Diggle, but there's no way those two men fit into the same suit.
No.
Absolutely no way.
No. But we're also going to be joined by Supergirl, The Flash, and White Canary as they lead their teams into battle to save the world. What I find is interesting is he's known as... Wentworth Miller is returning as Citizen Cold, but why Citizen, not Captain Cold?
Wait, you know what? I think that's an alternate version of him.
Is it?
Yeah.
You know what? I realized that when I said it for Flash, but like I didn't actually think to say it.
Well,
I mean, they have dabbled.
It says Super Friends like Citizen
No!
Cold.
Citizen Cold is the good guy version.
Okay.
In Flashpoint, a lot of the villains are good guys, and Captain Cold is one of them. He's Citizen Cold, and he fights for justice or bullshit. I don't know.
Gotcha.
It was cool in the comics, so. I can't believe I forgot that.
It was so cool.
Citizen Cold is the good guy version of Captain Cold.
Okay, so that's how we're getting Snart back without resurrecting or stealing him from another timeline.
Okay, how's that going to happen with Rory? That's gonna be an interaction I want to see.
Oh yeah, at least I know in the crossover they're walking side by side, so should be interesting.
Maybe that's, I don't know. I was going to say maybe in this version when he stopped his dad, he didn't have to go to the
prison.
Well, not prison. Well, the halfway house with kids, and then he never met up with him, and then Snart never became a bad kid or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Time.
Red Bandit in chat says, "Are we ever going to see Eva Sharp again, or are we done with the Time Bureau?" I think we'll see her again.
I don't know.
I think we'll see her again.
Douchebags.
We probably will, but
and
we don't know yet.
And Red Bandit had also asked if Eva Sharp and Becky Sharp from The Flash are possibly related. Becky Sharp was the Lucky meta from this season. Mm-hmm. So it's possible. Time travel and all that. It's possible that they are related in some way, shape, or form.
It's her great grandchild.
Maybe.
Or niece.
Yeah. Well, I think that about does it, unless anybody else has anything else.
Mm-mm.
No. Cleo, what did you think of this episode?
I feel slightly more informed. I think this was worth it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to have enough time to catch up for the crossover. So this was nice.
All right. Nikki, where can the people find you?
On Twitter at LadyVenom24, LadyVenom24.
Rachel, where can the people find you?
They can find me at Twitter at VikingWitch76 and on Twitch at VikingWitch.
Cleo, where can the people catch you up on all the DC happenings?
They can find me on Cleomoto on Twitter and Twitch.
Just start tweeting her short summaries of every episode of Legends of Tomorrow and Supergirl. Every episode.
5 words or less.
Every episode. Separate.
5 words or
5
less.
words or less.
They upped the character count. We're 240.
Yeah, 240. Use all of them. You can find me down below.
Did they? I didn't know that.
At Phenomenon, PHENOMEDOM. And you can find us all.
Phenomenon.
And more on Facebook, Gmail, G+, Twitter, Space. Down below at Discord and right here on both YouTube and Twitch at /ASOTV podcast for some more podcasts for some of your favorite TV shows, games, and movies. It seems like this outro is getting longer and longer as we go on. Mm-hmm. Till next time. With the DC Double Power Hour.
I'm gone.